Good good day and gratitude, family. Good day and gratitude. I don't know if I need to talk more or talk less, but because I am here by myself, so I don't know when I do start talking and stuff. My voice seems like it needs to run, like you gotta let your vehicle run before you just take off. So. But this is Face the Nation, and I am back again on Bolden Unchained, and we are reading. Yes, we're reading again. At Bolden Unchained, we are here to assist Black America and Black media with the uncovering and the condemning of the many agendas, events, projects, operations, acts, laws, codes, compromises, studies. It's so many eyes on us. Every which way you look. So many eyes on us. Targets, sabotages. We can't even imagine how much we as a people, collectively, how we being targeted, just preyed upon in this country. All that we've done, all that our people have done, everything been sabotaged. And I didn't know. I did not know. Yes, I had on glasses and shades. I ain't seen a thing. I had on nothing but glasses and shades. It wasn't really talked about. It wasn't really discussed what happened in the past. School wasn't teaching these things. For all the love, we knew that it was different, that slavery happened. But we didn't know to the extent that it happened, because it seemed like everybody was saying it was resolved. It was healing. It was talked about. It was made sure that no matter what, those things could never happen again. Not only just to not Black people, but to anybody. And now today, for me, I don't know about nobody else. I just be speaking for me. I know ain't nobody thinking like me, probably a few. But for me to even think that it's a possibility that any of that could happen again, it's so surreal, y'all. It's like, is this even real life? When did this become surreal like this? When did this become like, the Twilight Zone? Some apocalyptic, fantasy, some sordid fantasy that we as a people are going through. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. I always thought different. Yeah, I might have followed the trend, but I always thought different, though. I probably beat them there because I done found a shortcut. But it's not right, and we can't leave it like this. I cannot leave it like this. And all my mistakes and my wrong choices and me, my ignorance in ignoring and being swayed, not taking the initiative. But we got to forgive ourselves for that too. And I do forgive myself for that because I truly did not know. And I know a lot of y'all didn't either. But for the ones that did know, I don't mean to just jump in and get started heavy. But it's heavy at this time. When we hear for this, it's heavy. This whole book gonna be heavy. It's heavy. This whole little, and it started out heavy. This started out heavy. Ain't nothing finna be easy getting through this. Everybody might be crying. You should be. Everybody should be crying for our people. Somebody cry for them. Can you imagine all the crying they did, y'all? All the suffering. Just knowing somebody can't wait to just ravage your body. Can we even imagine? And all the bullshit crimes we see going on today. Oh, my ancestors, somebody set somebody on fire on the subway. Just set somebody on fire and just looking at them. It's animal instinct. The whole world going by this mentality. Not just with the greed to control. Not just to be the first, the baddest, the best. But to be the most inhumane. That's who they are. Who the white man always wanted to be. Prosperity. Until Kentucky and them decided we got to clean it up. That's when the outfit came on. The whole mask came on. Instead of looking like the Klansman, they started looking like the businessman. Looking like the doctor. Looking like the judge. Looking like the lawyer. But really, it's still this. They still this. It's only a matter of time, Black America, before everybody turn on you, because everybody got this mindset about Black America. That's just how it is. Everybody got this mindset about Black America. And for us to think that, it's okay to be with garden snakes because they can't hurt you, and risk all of these boa constrictors, all of these rattlesnakes, all of these pythons. That's not fair to our babies. That's not fair to our children going into this future. We so quick to, don't you go out there and be with Tyrone ass. You stay away from his damn ass. You know how Tyrone is. Cursing Tyrone, cussing him out and cursing him spiritually. Because we don't know these things. But now we do. And instead of telling our babies about Tyrone, because we ain't our natural enemy. We self-hating each other, but we ain't our natural enemy. If we get to the self-hate, to the root of the self-hate that's permeating Black America, then we can focus on the real hate, what caused us to hate each other. It's a whole agenda out there. It's a whole agenda running 24/7. It's a system. It's a game. And the game is to lessen Black America. We weren't never supposed to get away. I don't know if they just want to get us back, get rid of Black people. I don't know what the end goal is. Since they can't have us physically, maybe they just decided we just going to exterminate them. But it's hard to do. It's hard to get rid of what the cosmos ordained to be. So it's been hard for them to do. That's why it's so many agendas and events and, the operations and the studies. That's why it's so many attempts. Because Black America got away and wasn't ever supposed to get away. So I don't know if we're supposed to be gotten back or just, eliminate us. I don't know. I'm just now getting here. I done lived my whole life. I will tell you, I done lived my whole life and I didn't know nothing about the death of this. This looked like a test, a medical test, medical school, maybe lawyer school, because they got them real, real thick books. But no, this right here is racial violence. This right here is documenting about the racial violence, white terror on black. That's what this is about. Our focus, our first and final focus and concern is Black America. Right here at Bolden Unchained, we ain't here to discuss all the other people. We might bring it up, what other people doing and what's happening. But we ain't here to just focus and run for other people. We here for Black America. Other people that get caught in it, we ain't here to harm nobody. We'll even help someone. We help everyone. That's Black people, period. Even among the hate, even among our self-hate. And you know we self-hate each other. But the divine can't be the divine can't be kept down. What they say, truth will prevail. Even the last of our lack, those of us that's lacked along the way, are the ones that's telling us what we need to know. It ain't those that's done made it. They ain't telling us shit. They ain't telling us nothing. I think they the ones gonna sacrifice us. Yeah. A lot of those that's done made it and they success stories, and we so happy for them, so proud of them. Soon as we know they in the area, we gotta give the love. Energy just go through the roof for them. And every last one of them will sacrifice us because we didn't make it. And from where I'm sitting at, all of them done sold out. Every last one of them that's in the limelight done sold Black America out. And again, we ain't here talking about other races and other peoples and stuff. We here talking about Black America because we are here to find out what's the root of self-hate in our communities, in us. Where did that come from? Because it ain't never always been there. We didn't self-hate each other, even on the plantations. I mean, on the plantations, it ain't like the master men were beating the Black man and the Black woman, and Black people were beating Black men and Black women. I think that self-hate, I think it really began to take form during racial violence in this country. Because at that time, Black people was physically free, but we still didn't have we didn't need the education to fight back, but we still didn't have the ammunition, the weaponry, the tools that we needed to fight back against the guns, the machetes, the hatchets. Because white people still had all the farm stuff. They had all the tools. Until Black people started raising up, fighting back. But it wasn't everybody. Everybody wasn't able to. No. Everybody was not able to. Ooh, wee. Honey, I can't wait to get my voice back, because we're going to sing, lift every voice and sing. Yeah. I want to have the deep part of the chorus, just them 2 lines right there. But yeah, that's about that fog, y'all. Yep, COVID Jr. Cause you know it's evolving. It's so much going on. Black America, we can't do nothing but, keep our eyes on the prize, which is us and our babies. But we better start prepping. Black America, we better start prepping. I don't care. You better start going to the food shelf 3 times a week, 12 times a month, and just start. Yeah, I got to do it too, because everything done depleted here. But we got to keep starting over and over again, and it'll take form, whatever it is, whatever we're attempting to do, Black America, we got to keep trying to do it, because we can't be caught without certain things, the way things finna go. See, things finna go very critically, and it's finna accelerate. Let me get this out the way, because you know how it is. Copyright disclaimer on the 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. But and we have so much to talk about. I do. I'm telling you, I don't have nobody to really talk about these things, because everybody that I'm, in associate with and stuff, they ain't into what's going on with us. Nobody. And that's just the truth. So, me finally making it where I'm supposed to tell what I want to. I'm supposed to do my purpose. So me finally being here, oh yeah, we've been here for 2 or 3 hours, but anytime you get sleepy, you get tired, you got to go, because you got to work. You got to go cook, take care of them babies. But honey, you just take something that I done said, and you use some discernment in your life when you know you stepping outside of that safe sanctuary that's ours. Now, I hope y'all ain't out here with all these hothead and weaklings, because we got a lot of them. This mindset right here is on everybody, more than it's on the one that it belongs to. Oh, it's still on them. Oh, yes, honey. You don't want that to come out. I promise you, Black America, you do not want this to come out. And with everybody else thinking like this, we ain't even together enough to say, hey, they coming. Because of, like our elderly sister Viola said, Viola Fletcher was I seen her on the news or somewhere. African diaspora, I think. And she was in the Tulsa. She was just 7 years old when they did the Tulsa massacre, because they ain't race riots. They is not race riots. But we call them that so we can identify them, so we can find them when we go looking for them. But y'all, they were massacres. And she was 7 years old. And Black people, we had built up our Black Wall Streets, our empires, had everything that we needed. And she was just 7 years old. And she just, I guess they felt it in the air. Black people, they probably knew the air probably was electrifying. Because it's like, they said the black man did something to the black woman in the elevator. I think that's what it was. Dick Rowland. And she was 7 years old, and she remember them saying, them folks coming. And didn't nobody even have to say what folks. They were just like them white folks coming. Yep. And they got up out of there. They left everything. Some of our families probably had stuff still packed. Yep, had stuff still packed. We got to go. Just grab your stuff. Let's go. Because there was a what is it called? A hijira. A hijira of Negroes. That's what they called it. It was like ants. Everybody was packing up to go. That's how they said that after the riots and stuff, the massacres, and they ran the black people out of the towns and stuff, that's how they were leaving. We read a story last night, too. They were talking about white folks. When they burnt down that school, they were going to burn down them orphans in that school, and then they went in and they took the babies out the back door. But all them white folks went in there and stole everything from the bed, the blankets, the lamps, the kids' clothes, the shoes, the table, the chairs, and were walking down the street with it. But then they called black people running for their life a hegira of Negroes, fleeing for their life. I know Black America is amping up. Something is accelerating. We can't identify it yet. But every black person in this country ought to be feeling something. Whether you seeing it or not, you ought to be tingling. You ought to be tingling, honey, because the ancestors is everywhere. Waiting on us. Wake up. Waiting on us to wake up. Because we don't think nothing is about us. And everything is about us. It's just like, it's still like the war. We didn't cause the war. It wasn't because of us, but it was about us. Oh, it was about us. It's so many distractions, we don't know what to focus on, what to look at. But all we really got to hold on to is this right here. This right here. Through all of this unlearning and relearning, it won't be so emotional like it is while we doing this right here. Y'all got to get y'all books and stuff. We got to find some type of way to distribute these readings, these lessons, so that we all can pick up what's going on. That y'all know that's why Marvin Gaye wrote that song. That's what Dr. Francis Chris Wilson said, and I believe her. Said Marvin Gaye wrote that song, What's Going On? Because black people was always saying, what's up? What's happening? What you know, man? That's because even at that time, we wasn't focused on us. We wasn't focused on our health, on our hurt. We've had some good spots, some good times where we've been loyal to each other, sometimes more than others. But now today, I have to ask us, do we have any loyalty to our people, to black people? What is it, like 10%? What, 5% of black America is loyal to black America? I know it's low. That's why I said I need to take your math class. But, you know, is it 15%? What y'all think? Because it's getting to the point where it's going to be 0%. And it's all because of the self-hate. You know, I be listening to everybody when I be listening to, you know, black media and stuff. And some media and stuff, you know, they do be saying, you know, we got to unite with us. We got to unite with us, spend our money with us, be with us, reconcile with us. And I do believe that. We believe that here at Bolden Unchained. I don't care. Without us, with us, we'll never have the greatness of us. We can't have the greatness with other peoples. The cosmos didn't manifest us like that. The cosmos didn't manifest us for that. All of our babies are special and unique, but we cannot deplete the manifestation that we supposed to be. White people had it right with that. We ain't supposed to procreate. They was supposed to stay with each other so they can get the hell on up out of here with that low birth rate. See, we the one that wasn't loyal to us. And that's coming around taking everybody to hell. And y'all going by y'all damn self, because I ain't going nowhere with y'all. I want y'all to know, anybody that's finna excuse this, that's got some pillows for this. Anybody want to put a tough in it and give some comfort? But it ain't to our ancestors. If you got any kind of comfort, mercy, excusing that you want to give to this right here, you in the wrong place and you with the wrong people. Because it's only the welfare and concern of Black America right here. The sanity of Black America right here. Shot to hell. And why? Don't nobody really want to say why, though. Oh, yeah, we saying unite. We saying unite. We saying spend money with us. You know, we sugarcoating the shit. That's what we doing. We're sugarcoating the shit. Instead of coming straight out saying it, get the hell away from everybody that we ain't even got to be around. When shit hit the fan and it come down to that, get them babies. See, ain't nobody willing to tell Black America what we need to hear. Don't ask me, do that wig look good on your head? No, don't come and ask face, oh, do this wig look good? Because again, you with the wrong people. No, it don't look good. Make your own decisions in everything. We do. We do. But we got to lay in that bed. Whatever the decision we make, the consequences going to fall on us. And I'm telling you, honey, we going to lay in it. That's an old saying that Black folks say. You make that bed, you going to lay in it. And honey, we've been laying in this burning house. Black America been laying in this burning house since Martin told us. Was Martin? No, I ain't even going to go there. Since Martin Luther King told us, I fear I led my people in a burning house. I didn't even know that speech. I didn't even know about that speech. That's how the education system played us for a fool, Black America. It ain't that you don't like to read. It ain't that you don't want to read. It's that you got this innate fear in you. And it's generational. It stems from slavery. It stems from this, not being able to be free, not being able to live, not being able to grow, to learn. A full-grown man, 69 years old, can't read. Had to drop out of school at 8, 5. Just got started. Just learned A, B, C, D, E. And got to go help the family, got to go work. So us not being readily willing, Black America, to read, don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. Because as soon as you learn these letters and sounds, you're going to be reading your ass off. You're going to be reading your ass off, teaching all the kids. They're going to be teaching their friends. All our babies going to be knowing about our heroes. Because, see, that was another sabotage. I think they made it a law where if you caught teaching a slave to read, then yeah, you gonna pay. I think it was like 30 lashes. They whipped you 30 times on your back for teaching a slave how to read. So when we got out of slavery and we made our progress, and, you know, we lost all our stuff because they burnt it down, destroyed everything. And we went to the white folks system. And we made a little progress. In my opinion, it wasn't really much, but I'll give credit. We made a little progress. but it wasn't no beneficial progress, not for the collective Black America. Because first of all, they wasn't even really teaching us. Yeah, they give us the other side of the story, but they give their own, the best and the brightest side. So they can go ahead and make the A's and the honor rolls and stuff, That's why our family said we have to study harder, 2 times harder. All across the board, it's just rigged up like that against us because we don't know. We got to change the rules of the game. We see how they play. We see they don't play fair with us. They the ones that brought all these people over here. They the one that brought all these people over here. Talking about we don't help everybody. Then they get them over here and stuff, and I don't know, I think they're waiting on everybody to turn on Black people. So that way white people can jump up in there and they can get their licks in and stuff too. I don't know. I ain't even that manipulative, conniving and just sneaky. I don't even do stuff like that, so I don't know what they got planned. Because when I read the King Alfred plan years ago, and it was a hidden document, y'all. They said that they don't know who wrote it, but it was a hidden document. It looked like an army document when I seen it, because it was in this green, it was in a green folder like this, but it was a light green folder. And it looked like an army document or something. But anyway, I read it, and I think I saved it on my old page or something. But you probably could Google it. But when I read it and stuff, it sounded like everybody and their mama was just attacking Black people in the street, beating down Black men, Black women, Black little boys, little girls, just beating them down in the street. You can look out your window and see there's a group beating down Black men, and he trying to run and get home, and you just hear him screaming, and everybody get him, get his ass. It's just what it seemed like to me when I read it. And then it was like the police would come, and the Black person would be crying and on the floor and injured and stuff and on the ground. And the police would be like, well, what's going on and stuff? Oh, he like Arbery. Oh, he came through jogging. Oh, he's out. We don't know who he is. Anything, he wiped his forehead. And the police gonna start beating the Black man too, and then take him to jail. It's something really fucked up like that, and it's called the King Alfred plan. But that's what it gave me the idea, because I remember thinking, damn, everybody and their mama gonna be beating on Black people. That's what I thought. So all of these other things that's happening, it ain't no coincidence. And I don't believe in conspiracy theories. I mean, I do. Yeah, I do believe in conspiracy theories. I believe that it's something to that. Because I didn't know nothing about that. I was hearing the word and stuff, conspiracy theory. That's conspiracy theory. Why everybody keeps saying that? But y'all, I did a little research on it, and I think what happened was the CIA or one of them folks, them organizations and stuff, they had to put out lies and narratives and misleadings on our Black organizations like the Panthers and, our Black organizations that were sincere about us. So everything that they did, everything that they came up with, they'd be like, oh, that's a lie. It's conspiracy theory. It's not true. And that's with everything. Everything that you try to tell people in general, the whole world, because, everybody finna die. Life is over. Robots ain't gonna know nothing. They gonna be looking for Black folks, though. Don't get it twisted. Everybody finna get some oppression. All we can do is prepare for the worst, Black America, because ain't nobody else preparing for the worst. Not for us. Not for us. We don't know how long we got. I don't know how long we got. I'm already late. I'm already late to the fight. But I knew I was coming. Vernon John said, if you see a good fight, get in it. I knew I was coming. I've been trying to get here since 10 years ago, 7 years ago. But I go the long way around because I don't bring nobody with me. I come by myself. I stay by myself. I guess I've been shaking them off. Get your ass off of me. Yeah, to get right here. And now that I'm here, hell, I guess I took too long because we out of time. So Black America, what you going to need to do is start teaching the babies. Start teaching the babies, especially, you know, it might be in another lockdown anyway. Ain't nobody going nowhere with this fog and stuff. I don't know. I'll probably start singing and see if that'll activate my voice back because I got some things to say. Sure do, honey. Everything, my whole life, y'all, everything, it seems like it's clicking. The chemtrails that's in the sky, y'all, I think those are man-made cocktails. The chemtrails in the sky. I know y'all been seeing the videos and stuff about them. I used to say they ain't nothing but man-made cocktails. And I don't know what's going to activate it because everybody breathing it in. Everybody is under this sky breathing in these chemtrails, concoctions. It's like they done put a little bit of this toxic, that drug, that poison. And they load it up in the airplane in some little hazard container. And when they up in the air, they open that container up and it sprays out. I think for myself. That's why I know I need to start trying prep again. It don't matter how long it takes. Here, go get them garbanzo beans and lentils. Whatever it is you can eat, it's better than eating just peanut butter and crackers. In Black America, you know, we done been through the times when we had to eat just peanut butter and crackers, rice by itself. Well, we're going to have to prep like we got to do that again. Go on and cut the little end off the onions, tomatoes, cucumbers, whatever you using now, and put it in some dirt and set it in the winter. Because we got to start growing our own food and stuff. We ain't got no other choice. How else we going to eat? About your water. I know a lot of us buying water and stuff. But, you know, I'm going to buy some water. I'll probably have some spring water. I want spring water. And then, you know, for now, I got this little pen that I ordered. It's got a little filter on it. But when I'm drinking tap water, sometimes I use it, sometimes I don't, because it probably ain't even a really good filter, but it's something to have. But for me, I want to build me one of them water systems. Yeah, I want to build, I don't forget, it's called hydroponic or something like that. And then there's also something you can do for your garden. I know some of y'all already doing it. Well, see, y'all need to help us so we can learn to do it too. Because it don't make no sense if y'all asses is finna sacrifice us like the elite, our elite, like our bougies. Like our bougies is finna sacrifice y'all. You see how that work, Black America? They gonna sacrifice y'all and y'all gonna sacrifice us. I know that's the plan. So that's why I'm letting y'all know. Y'all need to let us know how to prep and prepare too. Help us gain the knowledge and the wisdom so we can get through this. So we can get through this. We choose our ancestors too. I suppose you still here, you choose the ancestors. That's whose side you on. Because I'm late. I'm very late. I feel like telling y'all everything. But I think Malcolm X said a little bit at a time. But either way, we still got to get through the hurt. We still got to find the self-hate. We still got to find the self-hate. We got to grow. We got to go out there and we got to, do our part to break the self-hate that's on our people. We can't do shit about the racism, but get the hell away from their ass. Stop having our babies with their ass. They the ones started that shit. So let hell give it back to their ass, Black America. Give it back to them. Shit, I just seen a video tonight. White women, black men, why we love you. Black men, why we love you. We love you, we love you, we love you. Oh, I saw that video right after I finished that video we seen last week with Dr. Joy DeGraw, when she was talking about the white women, how they had to make a law that if you beat your slaves to death, that you won't be charged because you probably beating them because you punishing them. That makes sense. Yeah, they had to make a law because you beat your slave to death, and the slave were kids. Keep that in mind. You beat your slave to death because you were punishing them. So she did some research to find out what is this, and they were kids. Well, who's beating kids like that? It were white women beating little black kids to death. So they made that law that if you beat your slave to death, you won't be charged because you were just punishing them, and you know, it happened. Now all of a sudden, oh, I just love you. I love you, black man, black boy, black man. Why I love you? I want to ask all y'all asses, is y'all really going hard? So that black men don't even know? Because they don't. Black men don't know shit. Can't nobody tell them that. So that they don't really know, really wake up, really resonate. Black men, see, black men so gone now, their mind is turning to mush. They don't really get the concept of what this is all about. Everybody want to, oh, it's okay, it's all right, we can do it now. But it has consequences, generational consequences for us. It's being done by them intentionally. Oh, my ancestors. Oh, yeah, we're going to watch that video I was trying to get to last night about the mask. We might have started. Yeah, I think I was probably teleporting last night, telepathy and stuff, you know, because it's a shift happening and downloads. Black America's getting downloads. Other folks from seeing on my news feed and stuff, other folks claim they getting downloads too. Well, they done stole so much. They probably can comprehend quite a bit, you know, of what's happening in the ethers, you know. Because a thief, when they steal something, they can use it. They can use it to their benefit. So I don't doubt that, you know, that white people, white America, I'm just keep it simple, that white America, I don't doubt that white America is able to understand some of the cosmic revelations and some of the cosmic gifts and talents and computations, you know, annotations, or however y'all classify. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. That's just like they could take our inventions and they done stole hundreds, thousands of black people inventions. Show how white America. I didn't know that either. Well, I think they done stole one of my inventions because I went and told them about it. But then, hell, it costs so much to get your invention patented, you got to lose an arm to better your life. Yep, don't tell them shit. Don't even do it. You keep it to yourself until, and you ask your ancestors, and they'll give you the way. Yeah, I'm being specific. When I say ask your ancestors, I'm specifically saying keep asking your God, your Jesus, and your higher power. But add the ancestors to it. How about that? Just add the ancestors to it. To all your prayers, your meditating, your reflecting, just add the ancestors in there. That's it. You ain't got to stop saying nobody nothing. Just add the ancestors. You ain't got to add Simeon Toko in there when you be saying Jesus. Because your mind finna start resonating a black Jesus. It's got to. And see, everybody's being drawn together, Black America. Everybody being drawn together. Like, you know how they show them bulbs with the electricity? They had a light bulb and it's got the electricity going through it and stuff like that. Everybody in Black America is being connected like that to the ethers. The ethers is coming out and it's shooting to everybody, every kind of way. Everybody, every kind of way. All around that roundness. And that's why all of us are getting this sync. So I'm just telling you, don't leave me out when you get yours and stuff, because I need to learn some math and some science. Oh, and I'm willing. I'll do the work. Because when our ancestors say, hey, get your ass up, then we got to get up. It's time to get up. And let's read. And tonight, still, we're on racial violence in the United States. Yeah, racial violence in the United States. And this right here is edited by Alan D. Grimshaw. Red Summer 1919 was McWhirter, Cameron McWhirter. We ain't even really telling our stories like we should. But we can start right now. And some of y'all, if you got your book channel, your reading channel and stuff, please let me know. Because you already know I like to read. But yeah, just don't come because I ain't finna read no Harlequin romance and no Zane and all. Nah. Call me when you finna read Jane Pittman or Raisin in the Sun. You know? Because I don't want to waste none of our time. We done wasted enough, Black America. Hell, I don't know about you, but hell, I'm 52. I got maybe 40 years. Although, you know, I'm timeless. We timeless. We are timeless. If we start fasting, taking care of ourselves. See, that's why we got to get back to us. We got to get our focus back on track. Because living in this mindset, living in their motherfucking mindset is killing us. We ain't even living long no more. We are not even living long no more. And I did have a cigarette today. One. Yep, I had a cigarette today, but I won't have no more. I didn't even buy it. Yeah, but I went and asked somebody for a cigarette today. But it's a struggle. It's a challenge. Just keep doing it. Keep working at it. Let's read. World War I and post-war boom and racial readjustment, 1915 to 1929. Large-scale interracial violence became almost endemic in the United States towards the end of the First World War and during the months immediately following it. In extent and distribution of violence, the period can be compared only with that of the past 5 years. Two of the more dramatic and costly disturbances occurred in St. Louis, East St. Louis, in 1917, and in Chicago, 1919. We read this last night. And we're going to keep on reading. And I'll see you tomorrow, if that's how it's got to be. I'm going to get some of them little stickers and stuff. I know I said it then. So I can keep up because, yeah, this is my first time here. And it's going to be a lot of trial by error. Your patience is appreciated. And when you need to take you a break, you do just that. And you go get your books and stuff. And we all just build together. But even if we by ourselves with the ancestors, just keep going. Keep going. Don't give up. There are selections in the chapter following from the formal investigations of those disturbances, a select congressional committee investigation of East St. Louis, and a Blue Ribbon Committee report on race relations in Chicago. Although some recent scholars have begun to be critical of the Chicago Commission report, it probably is still the best single case study. And it says some recent scholars have begun to be critical. Why? Well, what's that about? Because it seemed to me like now everybody want to get rid of this and erase it away, like the banned books. They're banning so many books now. Is it because Black people waking up? Is it because we reading more? We more intentional towards knowing what's going on? So now they're trying to criticize everything. I don't know. Let's just read. In 1917, Negro troops stationed in Houston mutinied and actually seized arms and marched on the city. Skirler's article reviews the chronology of this unusual event and comments on the causes. Another unusual manifestation of racial violence, one with strong class overtones, occurred in Arkansas in 1919, when Black tenant farmers assaulted whites in what some observers felt was an IWW-inspired insurrection. Two brief selections from the New York Times detail both the events and speculations about their cause. Other selections in the Times include a fragment of the coverage of a lynching in Omaha that developed into a more general assault, an editorial comment on the Chicago riot. Readers will observe that the Times itself has changed its perspective. Perspective. In the final selection, I have examined in some detail the riots of East St. Louis, Chicago, and Tulsa, and have attempted to distinguish among Southern style, Northern style, and mixed type riots. I guess where it's Southern and Northern together, riding down on Black folks with reference to differences. Let's go again with that. In the final selection, I have examined in some detail the riots of East St. Louis, Chicago, and Tulsa, and have attempted to distinguish among Southern style, Northern style, and mixed type riots, with references to differences both in modes of assault on the accommodative structure and in the actual chronologies of the several disturbances. Modes of assault, the different ways they was assaulting them. East St. Louis riots, report of the special committee authorized by Congress to investigate the East St. Louis riots. Your committee, appointed under House Resolution number 128 for the purpose of making investigation of the East St. Louis riots, which occurred on May the 28th and July the 2nd in 1917. It reports that as a result of unlawful conditions existing at that place, interstate commerce was not only openly and violently interrupted, but was virtually suspended for a week or 10 days during and following the riot of last July. For months after the July riot, interstate commerce was interfered with and hindered, not however by open acts of violence, but by a subtle and effective intimidation of colored men who had been employed by the railroads to handle freight consigned from one state to another. So it wasn't just openly assaulting and beating Black men. Is that what that meant? Because it says right here, it wasn't openly and violently. You know, they wasn't just doing like they was, like open acts of violence. It was subtle and effective intimidation, like threatening them, you know, and just staring them down, I guess. And now don't nobody even think about it. You know, it's hidden so well. Yeah, that's because we don't see the hate. We only see, Black America only sees self-hate. We don't see the hate of other people, the way other people look at us and think about us, because it's undercover. Yep, it's mainly undercover. That's what I think. So many of these men were driven out of East St. Louis as a result of the July riot, that the railroads could not secure necessary help. After the worst effects of the riot had passed, this class of labor remained so frightened and intimidated that it would not live in East St. Louis. Some of them took up their residences across the river. They went to St. Louis. Yeah, they got out of East St. Louis and went to St. Louis. And they would go over to East St. Louis in the morning to work, and they would return to their home in St. Louis, you know, after work at nightfall. In order to get out of East St. Louis and back to St. Louis before night came, in order to get out of East St. Louis and back to St. Louis before night came on, the length of the day's work was reduced. They couldn't work that long if they want to get back before nightfall. How far was it? I don't even know how far it was. In order for them to get to work at all. Besides the killing of a number of these Negro laborers, a very large number indeed fled from the work and never returned to it. In addition to this, 44 freight cars were burned and serious damage done to the railroad tracks, all of which will be referred to further along in this report. Your committee made an earnest, nonpartisan effort to determine the basic cause of the riot. We endeavored to pursue every avenue of information to its source, search the hearts and consciences of all witnesses, and sought the opinions of men in every walk of life. The officers of the mills and factories placed the blame at the door of organized labor. But the overwhelming weight of testimony, to which is added the convictions of the committee, ascribes the mob spirit and its murderous manifestations to the bitter race feeling that had grown up between the whites and the blacks. There it is right there. The officers of the mills and factories placed the blame at the door of organized labor, but the overwhelming weight of the testimony, the truth of what was done, it overshadows everything. It don't matter what good deed. Oh, I've been good for the last 30 years. I've been feeding the homeless and taking care of foster children and the orphan and old folks and stuff, trying to make up for this. White America, when all white America had to do was be sincere. Because it's true, they did not. A lot of them was not alive, except for that old white man that was talking about leaving them black babies in them burning fires and them burning buildings. And of course, those that's of age like Viola Fletcher, they probably still alive. But on the whole, we know a lot of these people is not alive today. White America, what they think we done? For real? We're not saying that white America physically did these things today, although they are still lynching, you know. They can't do too much to black bodies, even though it's hidden. You know, because we still finding black bodies in the middle of nowhere, led away, being lit. So they still doing it. But it's really hard to say that it's them. You know, and they sure not to do things that they used to do. Like if we start seeing black men, we start seeing ears and, you know, finding fingers and toes and body parts along a dirt road and blood trails, it's probably them done started dragging black men behind vehicles again. But see, they not going to do the things, the vile, murderous acts that they did in here, because it's going to readily be like, oh, no, I don't think nobody doing that. I don't think nobody doing that. But see, everybody, the whole world, done got this mindset. Everybody used to be. I used to think that most people in the world were good. And I do still feel like most people in the world are good, but I feel like they timid. Most of them too timid to even say anything. And the people that, you know, that's got this mindset right here, they are able to sway a lot of timid people. That's what I think. So I feel like with this mindset, hell, it might already be that this mindset is more than it is the love mindset. Because, you know, vibrating at a frequency of 750, vibrating at a frequency of 750, that kills all, it kills like 200,000 negative influences and projections on you from different people. So, you know, you just keep your vibration high and you just be knocking motherfuckers out. You know, just by your aura of love. But it's got to be for your people. It's for your people. Do it for your people. Love your people, black people. And watch your love elevate. Watch your aura elevate. Yeah. I might have explained it wrong and stuff, but yeah, when I get it together, I'll mention it again. But I always try to remember that, you know, because sometimes I don't always, you know, have a high vibration. But I just try to always come back to my ancestors. Whose side am I on? That's all that matters. You know, that's all that matters to me. Yeah, everything that they went through. Turn it, please. All right, let's read. In 1917, I think we read that about the mutiny. Or maybe I read it myself. Because, you know, we did read this again. We already read this right here, but since I started, I wanted to just go ahead. The natural racial aversion, which finds expression in mob violence in the North as in the South, was augmented in East St. Louis by hundreds of petty conflicts between the whites and the blacks. During the year 1917, between 10,000 and 12,000 Negroes came from the southern states to seek work at promised high wages in the industries of St. Clair County. So all them Negroes came, you know, they probably didn't like that. They swarmed into the railroad stations on every train to be met by their friends who formed reception committees and welcomed them to the financial, political, and social liberty, which they had been led to believe that Illinois is guaranteed. That's why they was there. That's why they was there, because they believed it was a better life. It would improve their financial, political, and social liberty. And I hope that don't mean socializing with white people. Because it seemed to me like every time we get up, we elevate, we get more money, we get better. We always gotta the cradle and coddle it, with white America, with white people. We always gotta move with them. We always gotta switch over and become like their persona, instead of just being ourselves, staying with our own people, fixing up our own communities, looking out for our own families. But that's just how I feel. They seldom had more than enough money to exactly defray their transportation, and they arrived dirty and hungry when they got there. They stood around the street corners in homesick huddles, seeking shelter and hunting work. How to deal with them soon became a municipal problem. Morning found them gathered at the gates of the manufacturers, where often they were chosen in preference to the white men who also sought employment. But they would take them before the white men, probably because they could pay them cheaper. See, it says, morning found them gathered at the gates of the manufacturers, where often they were chosen in preference to the white men who also sought employment. But as rapidly as employment was found for those already there, fresh swarms arrived from the South, until the great number without employment menaced the prosperity and safety of the community. It was too many of them. It was way too many of them and not enough work. And not only that, you had the white folk, the white men that didn't have work. So more blacks coming and stuff. Oh, it tipped them off. Yeah, they immediately lost it. Let's read. The aluminum ore company brought hundreds and hundreds of them to the city as strike breakers to defeat organized labor, a precedent which aroused intense hatred and antagonism, and it caused countless tragedies as its aftermath. So they brought black people in there as scapegoats, because that's what it was. Yep. So they brought black people in there as scapegoats, and white people, their hatred was palpable. They couldn't restrain it. That show seemed like what it's getting to. The feeling of resentment grew with each succeeding day. White men walked the streets in idleness, their families suffering for food and warmth and clothes, while their places as laborers were taken by strange Negroes who were compelled to live in hovels and who were used to keep down wages. So it was proven conclusively that the various industries in St. Clair County were directly responsible for the importation of these Negroes from the South. Advertisements was printed in various Southern newspapers urging the Negroes to come to East St. Louis and promising them big wages. In many instances, agents were sent through the South to urge the Negroes to abandon profitable employment there and come to East St. Louis, where work was said to be plentiful and wages high. One of the local railroads sent an agent to the southern states, and on some trips, he brought back with him as many as 30 or 40 young men, black men, all of them employed at the southern homes, making from $2 to $2.50 a day. A number of these men testified before the committee that they were promised $2.40 a day and board if they would come to East St. Louis. But when they did come, they were paid only $1.40 a day with an allowance of 60 cents, and that was for board. And they were fed on coffee, bread, and molasses. And they was made to sleep on sacks in boxcars where they suffered keenly from the cold. See, they always treated us like this. ain't never been sincere with us. So this ain't even nothing new. They always been lying to Black America. Tell us one thing, then do something else. They done set this whole sabotage against Black America up. We ain't got no choice but to unite with us. I mean, it seems like it's just this time, this generation. Now, this been going on because they ain't never tried to stop it. White America ain't never tried to be sincere in eradicating white supremacy and racism. Because it's their system. It's a system that was built for them. But for all the love of Black folk, ain't nobody willing to, I ain't saying just totally dismantle the system, because I would. If I was sincere, I'd be like, hell, destroy the whole motherfucker, let's build it up again. If I had the power, if I had to say, anybody that's sincere would say, hey, destroy, let's build everything up again. Everybody but white America. White America say, oh, let's build something around it. That way we can always have that route, but we'll always be sneaking with this one. When it comes to Black America, yeah, I don't know if it will be no racial reconciliation after this. I really don't, because this ain't just no fable. This is about them. This is about them. Every last one of them. And it ain't temporarily. It ain't temporarily. See, this is our lifestyle. And it's going to have to be our lifestyle. Everything is. We're not unlearning just to be doing it. We're not unlearning everything just to be doing it. We're going to have to keep each other accountable. Somebody going to have to step up. Yeah, I got this. I got the reading today. No matter what we doing in our home lives, in our work lives and stuff, hopefully, Black America, we trying to become self-sufficient. We got to become self-sufficient, because we don't think like these people. We do not even think like our open enemy. If our people are hotheads, are weaklings, if they was even thinking, they would realize what they doing, the consequences that they doing. That they would never be the biggest savage. Won't nobody ever be the biggest savage. That spot is already taken. I mean, just tell us the truth. Shit, quit acting like hell you got to sugarcoat everything for Black America. Some of us can handle it. Those of us that can't, cover your ears up for a minute or two, but you still got to learn. We still got to know. Let's read. The feeling of resentment grew with each succeeding day. White men walked the streets in idleness, their families suffering for food and warmth and clothes, while their places as laborers were taken by strange Negroes who were compelled to live in hovels and who were used to keep down wages. So they just walking around feeling like, oh, they gave my livelihood to these old ravages, these dogs, these lowlives that sleep in hovels and don't even deserve it. They walking around inciting themselves up. It was proven conclusively that the various industries in St. Clair County were directly responsible for the importation of these Negroes from the South. Advertisements was printed in various Southern newspapers urging the Negroes to come to East St. Louis, promising them big wages. In many instances, agents were sent through the South to urge the Negroes to abandon profitable employment there and come to East St. Louis, where work was said to be plentiful and wages high. And now we read again, so we can get it in our head how they always lie to us. They can't never be trusted. Now they done went there and enticed these black men to come here. Work is guaranteed. You'll get higher wages. When they had work there, guaranteed work there, that's where they was at. They was in a deep oppression down there, but they had work there. They the one told them it was high pay. Always lying to black folks. Can't never be trusted. This ain't just no overnight thing with white America. One of the railroads sent an agent to southern states, and on some trips, he done brought back 30 or 40 Negro men. Some trips. How many he take? Always using us for something. Using black people to save the world, save the business. Not this time. We done saving everybody else. And they were making $2 to $2.50. A number of these men testified before the committee that they were promised $2.40 a day and board if they would come to East St. Louis, but when they did come, they were paid only $1.40 a day with an allowance of 60 cents a day for board, and were fed on coffee, bread, and lasses, and made to sleep on sacks and boxcars where they suffered keenly from the cold. Responsibility for this influx of 10,000 or more Negroes into East St. Louis rests on the railroads and the manufacturing establishments, and they must bear their share of responsibility for the ensuing arson and murder that followed this unfortunate invasion. Responsibility for this influx of 10,000 or more Negroes into East St. Louis rests on the railroads and the manufacturing establishments, and they must bear their share of the responsibility for the ensuing arson and murder that followed this unfortunate invasion. They brought all these black people here, and it incited the white people because they gave them their jobs for lower pay instead of paying the white people what they were asking for, what they deserved. So the white people attacked the black people. Set them up. They set them up. It is a lamentable fact that the employers of labor pay too little heed to the comfort or welfare of their men. They saw them crowded into wretched cabins without water or any of the conveniences of life, their wives and children condemned to live in the disreputable quarters of the town, and made no effort to lift them out of the mire, just left them there. The Negroes gravitated to the unsanitary sections, existed in the squalor of filthy cabins, and made no complaint. But the white workmen had a higher outlook, and the failure to provide them with better homes added to their bitter dissatisfaction with the burdens placed upon them by having to compete with black labor. See, black people didn't complain about living in the mud. They didn't complain about living in the mud. They was discontent with it, but it was what it was. They was there to work, and they was cheated by that. But the white men felt like, nah, we deserve better homes, and then you give them the jobs. So the resentment spread until it included thousands who did not have to work with their hands. 10,000 or more strange Negroes added to the already largely colored population soon made East St. Louis a center of lawlessness. Within less than a year before the riot, over 800 over 800 holdups were committed in the city. More than 80% of the murders were committed by Negroes. Highway robberies were nightly occurrences. Rape was frequent, while a host of petty offenses kept the law-abiding citizens in a state of terror. Oh, they must have flipped the whole script. Let me read that one more time. Because it was the white folks that was in resentment. It was the white folks that felt like they were given the short end of the stick. But 10,000 and more strange Negroes added to the already largely colored population. And it made East St. Louis a center of lawlessness. Within less than a year before the riot, over 800 holdups were committed in the city. More than 80% of the murders were committed by Negroes. I don't even believe it. Highway robberies were nightly occurrences. Rape was frequent, while a host of petty offenses kept the law-abiding citizens in a state of terror. White women were afraid to walk the streets at night. Negroes sat in their laps on streetcars. Black women crowded them from the streets. They were openly insulted by drunken Negroes. The low saloons and gambling houses were crowded with idle vagabonds. The dance halls and the Negro sections were filled with prostitutes, half clad in some instances, naked, performing lewd dances. Negroes were induced to buy homes in white districts by unscrupulous real estate agents. And as a consequence, the white people sold their homes at a sacrifice and moved somewhere else. Owners of cheap property preferred Negroes as tenants, charging them $15 a month to rent houses for which white workmen had paid only $10. But they'll rent to Negroes for $5 more. Corrupt politicians found the Negro vote fitted to their foul purposes and not only bought them on election day, but in the interval protected them in the dens of vice, their low saloons and barrel houses too. They had immunity in the courts. Crooked lawyers kept them out of jail, and a disorganized grafting police force saw to it that they were not molested. East St. Louis wallowed in the mire of lawlessness and unashamed corruption. Criminals from every quarter of the country gathered there. They flocked to East St. Louis, unmolested and safe from detection. They came there from everywhere, safe from detection. This was the condition of affairs on the night of July the 1st, 1917, when an automobile, some witnesses say there were two, went through a Negro section of the city and fired promiscuously into their homes. No one was injured, but the act roused a fierce spirit in the breast of the Negroes. The ringing of a church bell at midnight, which was a prearranged signal, drew a crowd of Negroes from that immediate section, armed with guns and pistols. They marched through the streets ready to avenge the attack on their homes. They had not gone far until an automobile containing several policemen and a newspaper reporter crossed their path, having been notified by telephone that there was a danger of an outbreak. The Negroes cursed them and told them to drive on, although one of the detectives flashed his police badge and assured them that they had come to protect them. They weren't coming to hurt them. For answer, the Negro mob fired a volley into the machine, which at the first shot drove rapidly away. The Negroes continued to empty their guns and pistols, with the result that one of the officers was instantly killed and another so badly wounded that he died later. The police automobile, riddled with bullets, stood in front of police headquarters the next morning, and thousands viewed it. The early editions of the papers gave full details of the tragedy of the night before. And on July the 2nd, East St. Louis awoke to a realization of the awful fact that the dread which had knocked at every heart And on July the 2nd, East St. Louis awoke to the realization of the awful fact that the dread which had knocked at every heart for months could no longer be denied. Years of lawlessness had at last borne bloody fruit. As the day wore on, Negro mobs killed other white men and shot at men and women who were offering them no wrong. Black men had snapped, fighting back. Fighting back the same way y'all coming up here shooting, hanging, lynching, burning. The black men in East St. Louis were like, bring it on. Yeah, Doc, that's what I feel. That's what I see. I'm reading. That's what I read. Dr. McQuinlan, a well-known physician, and his wife, they was dragged from their machine and shamefully abused. The doctor was shot. His ribs was broken. And both him and his wife was badly beaten. One of his assailants remarked, boys, this is Dr. Quinlan, the aluminum ore company doctor. And he pleaded for his life. And he was one of them that was beating him. He was telling them, let's not do it. He's the doctor. But the would-be murderers, some of whom must have been employed by the ore company, they helped the doctor and his wife into their machine and cranking it up for them, they sent them on their way. Still couldn't be no savage, though. The news of these attacks and fresh outrages spread rapidly, and the streets soon filled with excited people. Men and boys, girls and women of the town began to attack every Negro in sight. There it is right there. I was just telling y'all about the King Alfred plan. The news of these attacks and fresh outrages spread rapidly, and the streets soon filled with excited people. Men and boys, women and girls of the town began to attack every Negro in sight. All fared alike, young and old, women and children. No one was spared. The crowd soon grew to rioters, not righteous, rioters, riotous. The crowd soon grew to riotous proportions. That means it went from 500 to 50,000. It grew so big. And for hours, the manhunt continued. Stabbing, clubbing, shooting, not the guilty, but unoffending Negroes. Innocent, weak, unsuspecting. One was hanged from a telephone pole, and another had a rope tied around his neck and was dragged through the streets. The maddened crowd kicking and beating him as he lay prostrate and helpless. The Negroes were pursued into their homes, and the torch completed the work of destruction. As they fled from the flames, they were shot down. Just chasing black people, beating black people. Some black people ran into their house. The white people set the house on fire, ran around the front and the back, throwing the Molotov cocktails probably through the windows and stuff. The black people ran outside because the house on fire. And white people just shot them down where they lay, just shot them. Everybody just targeting black people. As they fled from the flames, they were shot down. Although many of them came out with uplifted hands, pleading to be spared. They were just begging, please don't shoot us. Please don't shoot us. We coming out. Not that it did any good. It was a day and night given over to arson and murder. Scenes of horror that would have shocked a savage. But they was savages. It was the savages that was doing it. Scenes of horror that would have shocked a savage were viewed with placid unconcern by hundreds whose hearts had no pity and who seemed to revel in the feast of blood and cruelty. I've been telling it. They seemed to revel in the feast of blood and cruelty of black people. Just roll around in that blood. I'm not making it up. It's in the book. I know I got an imagination. I know I can think of some different scenarios. It just so happens it's here. I just got the book. I'm not lying. I'm not dividing. I'm just trying to wake my people up. I don't want my people to be ravaged again. No, I don't want history to repeat itself. In what, 3 generations? 2 generations? 5 generations? It don't matter when. I don't want it to happen. We, Black America, should not want it to happen again. We should be doing everything in our power to make sure that history never repeats itself again, just like they are, just like everybody else doing their Holocaust. They making sure it never happens again. Instead of people making them forget, they ain't never letting people forget, which is what our asses is doing. To go to sleep so soundly, Black America, with all the snarling and groveling, munching and crunching on bones of Black people. And then we act like, oh, it's nothing. That's just the boiling water bubbling on the stove. Excuse it like it's just something so infinite. Oh, we just finna cook some rice. That's just the water boiling. I know. We traumatized. I won't forget that we're traumatized. And we don't need to forget it either. We don't need to forget it, Black America, because everybody at this point, everybody finna shift the blame on us. Everybody finna shift the blame on us, as if we knew. As if they ain't had a hand in hiding all of this. Keeping us distracted. Turning us against each other. Making everything look so much good and better for Black America. When all of they motherfucking asses know what's in these books. Black America just don't know. You got some little kids, some aunties, some cousins of age that you can start reading to. You got some little cousins, little nieces you can start reading to. We got something for all ages. Just be respectful. Don't get us right here to them babies. We're not trying to turn us into them. We're not trying to be like white folks. We just trying to live and let live. But we don't have to live together. We don't have to live among white America no more. We got to be able, Black America, to live with us. We can't spend our whole existence, another 400 years under white folks and robots. Make me wonder when they gonna get rid of robots. When they gonna shut them all down, when they get us to like 300,000 people. 300,000 worldwide. That's when they'll shut the robots, the machines down. What's their overall plan? Just have us birth enough so they can feed off of us? I don't know. But I think I know it's sorted. Who think of things like this? Who can think of things like this? Why? And all I know is why not? Why not? Let's read. It was a day and night given over to arson and murder. Scenes of horror that would have shocked a savage were viewed with placid unconcern by hundreds. It didn't even faze white folks because they were the savages. They are the savages. It didn't even faze them. No, they were just like, whose hearts knew no pity and who seemed to revel in the feast of blood and cruelty. Like they could just reach down there and wash their hands in the blood. I don't know. Take a bite of the heart. I don't know, y'all. I just know we got to wake up before we find ourselves in like the movie Blade, and it was real dark and stuff, and everybody was groveling and wanting to eat, regular people. Vampires. I don't know. Just tell us the truth. Hey, we can live. We still got to live on this planet now. But damn, just at least let us know. At least let us know. Shit, it ain't too far out. Hell, it's in the book. What else is it? What else do you call that? Reveling in the feast of blood and cruelty. Everybody. Like Dr. George DeChrist said, it ain't just one or two. It's everybody. And see, when it's everybody, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, babies, kids, old folks, pregnant women, and everybody got that same glee, that same happiness, then it means something. It's significant. It's very significant. It's very detrimental that everybody wake up and notice what it is. Let's read. It is not possible to give accurately the number of dead. At least 39 Negroes and 8 white people were killed outright, and hundreds of Negroes was wounded and maimed. The bodies of the dead Negroes, testified an eyewitness, were thrown into a morgue like so many dead hogs. There were 312 buildings and 44 railroad cars, and their contents destroyed by fire. A total loss of $393,600. Your committee cannot go into all of the harrowing details of how the Negroes, the men, women, and children, were killed and burned during the riot. But there were so many flagrantly cruel cases that a bare recital of the facts concerning some of them will be given. So it says they can't tell us, the really, really harrowing details. How much more harrowing can it be? I mean, is it what I just said? To get the heart, the limb, or any part of the body and just eat it? Is that what it more harrowing means? That's what I'm trying to wrap my mind around. So all of this, it just disappeared. It just disappeared. They don't have these thoughts, these feelings, these cravings anymore. They just automatically healed. We ain't even healed. And it was done to us. So the ones that do it, what make us think they want to heal? What make you think that an animal want to stop being the animal that it is? Black America. You see the situation we in? Not to mention the crisis of the world. The bodies of the dead Negroes were thrown into the morgue like so many dead hogs. And then it goes on to say your committee cannot go into the harrowing details of how many Negroes, men, women, and kids, children, were killed and burned. So they just put everybody on the spigot, just burning everybody. Like Willie Brown, just burning everybody, burning their whole body, not putting it on there and taking it off. No, actually burning it, putting the body on the fire, keeping the fire going. Oh, they kept the fires going. I already know. Some of the bodies, they kept it burning so much. You know how when you're barbecuing and the charcoal, it's done stayed on the grill from the beginning to the end. And then when you touch it, it's just nothing but ashes. Some of the bodies, they burned them like that so bad. When they finally touched it, it just fell like ashes. And they just sat around and celebrated and talked and planned and bonded and probably a little growling, and they probably shape-shifted into their real selves. I don't know. But I'm on their side. I'm on my ancestors' side. I know that. Who can think this? You mean tell me all of our minds got to think? All of our minds got to start thinking. This too. This ain't the only reading that you got to be introduced to. Now you got to take it up and finish the lesson, because we all got to learn this. I just want to know which one of our ancestors actually saw the demon. Which one of them, all of them, actually saw them shift into their real selves? Is it like what I see? Is it like what you see when you hear these words? Because, honey, I would have never told my people, yeah, you be with them, you integrate with them. You stay with them, you forgive them. I don't see how we can ever tell our people now, today, to stay like we are. Not knowing what we're learning. That clearly shows whose side we on. When we still want to say, oh, reconcile. Knowing it ain't been no healing, no therapy, no transparency, because they damn sure ain't told us. Yeah, they put it in books. They put it in books. They got it on TV. They got it on social medias, but not for us. See, this ain't in the book for us. This is in the book for them. We weren't even supposed to read. We weren't even supposed to know it was in the book. See how it's all been revealed to us? I ain't gonna keep y'all all night. I might not even come on tomorrow night. Give myself a chance to rest my voice. But hell, I might. We'll see what the ancestors say. At Collinsville, because we need to read. It's going to be a long book. At Collinsville and Illinois Avenues, a Negro man and his wife and a 14-year-old boy was assaulted. The man was beaten. His head was crushed in. His head was crushed in as if by a blow from a stone. And the boy was shot and killed. The woman was very badly injured. Her hair was torn out by the roots, and her scalp was partly torn off by someone who took hold of the ragged edges of a wound and scalped her. What could be more harrowing than this? What else is there to hide that could be worse than what we're learning now? After a time, an ambulance drove up, and the bodies of these 3 Negroes were loaded into it. The father and son were dead, and the woman regained consciousness. And when the woman regained consciousness, she found herself laying on the dead bodies of her husband and her child. This family lived across the Mississippi River in St. Louis, and they were on their way home after having been on a fishing trip. And they was like north of East St. Louis. So they were just coming through, going home. They were innocent of any connection with the race feeling that brought about the riot, and were victims of the savage brutality of the mob. See, they were just innocent. They were innocent. They didn't spare the age or the sex. They didn't spare the woman because she was a woman, could have been pregnant. They didn't spare the boy because he wasn't but a child. He wasn't but 14. They didn't have no mercy on them. What was the mercy for them? What was the mercy for any of them? Well, let's read. Another Negro who was trying to escape from a mob of 30 or 40 men was knocked down, kicked in the face, beaten into insensibility, and then a man stood over him and shot him 5 times as he lay helpless in the street. A white man shot at a Negro and killed another white man. His bad aim infuriating the mob that pursued the offending Negro. So white man shot at the Negro, but he missed the Negro and killed another white man, and it just infuriated the mob. The mob went ballistic. They lost their motherfucking mind. When the white man shot at the Negro, but missed the Negro and killed another white man, the mob lost their mind. You'd have thought the Negro killed the white man. But that's not what happened. Oh my. Two Negroes were taken from a streetcar at Illinois and Collinsville Avenues. They were on their way to St. Louis to escape the fury of the mob, but both of them were killed. Near the stockyards, a white man knocked a Negro senseless from a wagon And when two reporters offered to take the wounded man to the hospital, another white man threatened their lives and forced them to drive away and leave him. And ain't no telling what they did to that man. At Collinsville and Division Avenues, a mob of about 100 men drove a Negro into the street, knocked him down, stamped his face, and one of the crowd drew a pistol and shot him through the head, the bullet coming out between his eyes. An old Negro, about 70 years old, stepped off a streetcar having come from St. Louis on his way home. The mob immediately attacked him with such fury that he was left senseless after being stoned and beaten. A witness who described this particular case to the committee said, "This old man, his dinner bucket lying on the ground beside him, apparently he was dead, although he had his arm ouched up over his face as if to protect himself from the blows." About that time, an ambulance driver came up and started to pick him up to put him in the ambulance. A white man standing over him said, "If you pick up this Negro, you'll get what he got." I saw the same Negro in the undertaking establishment the next day, dead, with his arm still arched over his face. Another 3rd Street and Brady Avenue. Around 3rd Street and Brady Avenue, the mob was firing promiscuously into houses and sheds where the Negroes had taken shelter. Every time one of them ran from the houses, he was shot and killed. The rioting continued all along Broadway, between Collinsville Avenue and 8th Street. Houses were burned, and the poor wretches were driven from their homes or shot as they was trying to escape the flames. 2 of them, with hands above their head, were shot and killed. A Negro child, 2 years old, was shot and thrown into the doorway of a burning building. And nothing was ever found of the remains. There was a crippled Negro who took care of the horses and the mules for the Hill Thomas Lime and Cement Company. He was a faithful, hardworking, loyal fellow. The day of the riot, his employer's stable was in the path of the flames. So he called up Mr. Thomas, his boss, on the telephone and said, "I just called you up to tell you goodbye. I'm here in the barn, and I ain't going to leave. I turned all the stock out. I'm going to stay here. I'm not going outside to be shot." The faithful Negro must have been consumed in the flames, as no trace of him was ever found. We ain't had no therapy, no healing. All this trauma. He let the horses out. He let the mules out. But he stayed in the fire. He stayed in the barn rather than go out and face white folks. Let white folks shoot him up, grab his body, do whatever they're going to do to his body. Revel in the blood and the guts of black people. He'd rather stay in the barn, in the fire. It is impossible to say how many people perished in the 312 houses that was burned by the mob, but many Negroes who lived in those houses still are missing, and it is not even possible to get an accurate report as to just how many was found dead in the flames. East St. Louis for many years has been a plague spot. Within its borders and throughout its environments, every offense in the calendar of crime and every lapse in morals and public decency has been openly committed, each day increasing the terrors of the law-abiding. No terms of condemnation applied to the men who were responsible for the appalling conditions revealed before your committee can be too severe. No punishment that outraged justice may visit upon them will be adequate. In many cases, they deserve the extreme penalty. In every case, they merit the execration. That's EXECRATION. In every case, they merit the execration of a despoiled and disgraced community. The purpose of the politicians of both political parties who found East St. Louis respected and prosperous, and who in a few years robbed its treasury, gave way to valuable franchises, sank it in the mire of pollution, and brought it upon national censor and disgrace, was deliberate. They did it on purpose. They united to elect men to high office who would further their schemes of spoliation, spoiling it, even when they feared to share their plunder. It was a conspiracy of shameless. It was a conspiracy as shameless as it was confident. Oh, they were confident and shameless. They knew what they was doing. They had no shame. Oh, yeah, that's what we doing. Just savages. They left nothing to chance. It took account of the executive. It provided an unscrupulous legislative board. It made certain of police commissioners who would take orders and deliver the goods. It embraced the courts high and low. It went into partnership with every vile business. It protected every lawless saloon. It encourages houses of prostitution in the very shadow of the city hall. So you got the city hall right here and prostitution houses all around it. A block up there, a block back there, across the street over here. It gave protection to gamblers, immunity to thieves and murderers. The gang that took possession of East St. Louis harbored the offscourings of the earth. The vag, the safe blower, and the stick-up man flocked to its sheltering arms, safe from arrest or disturbance. The good people of this sorely afflicted community were powerless. The Chamber of Commerce, which should have had the courage to rally the law-abiding and drive out the lawless, they was ineffective. They actually laid upon the table a resolution of inquiry to investigate the conditions that made property unsafe and life perilous. The owners of the great corporation whose plants were in and about East St. Louis, they lived in other cities. They didn't even live there. And you know they had insurance so that they can get paid and rebuild. They pocketed their dividends without concern for the municipal dishonesty that wasted the taxes, and without a thought for the hundreds of their own workmen, black and white, who lived in hovels, the victims of poverty and disease, of long hours and incessant labor. Oh, they just took the money and ran. Honey, they just got their unemployment and didn't give a damn about the building or the workers. For all the love of being faithful to your job, they never cared. They ain't never been faithful, ain't never been sincere. Let's read. The greed that made crooks of the politicians made money grabbers of the manufacturers, who pitted white labor against black labor. They drove organized labor from their plants. They brought thousands of inefficient Negroes from the South, still bringing Negroes from the South, crowding the white men from their positions, paying them, lowballing them, so they can save money, knowing it's going to incite the white men to anger, to rage. Black men don't be no dummy and a fool. Black America. Still, all this stirred the fires of race hatred until it finally culminated in bloody, pitiless riot, arson, and wanton murder. Told you. That's all it leads to. That's what this is about. That's what this is about. Everything that leads white America to their cannibalistic, inhumane nature against us. I know I can't be the only one that's feeling rage, my own outrage at what they've done to our ancestors. And look how they had to be so marvelous, so great. This is the greatness right here. This is the superiority right here. Can't nobody tell face nothing. Better not nobody ever step in my face or behind my back and give praise, honor, salute to now one of these motherfuckers that's done had a hand in the slaughter of black people. I don't care who it was, Robert E. Lee, Christopher Columbus, you know they peoples. They got their statues all up. What is it? I just seen Trump talking about putting the statues back up. What they better not come talking to me about them motherfuckers. Because we finna learn about their asses too. Yeah, stop me talking about, oh, look at Robert E. Lee. I'm going to tell you everything that motherfucker did. Where we at? Oh, let's read. Mayor Moldman surrounded himself with advisors who were familiar with the game of politics. The bird, that vulture, the right wing and the left wing. Black America, you should have been no crashed that motherfucker. Soon as they put that motherfucker in the air, Black America should have crashed. The first opportunity you had. They were not interested in securing an honest and economical administration. Their business first was to elect a man who would be subservient, who would serve their ass. One who would possibly might not put his own hand into the public treasury because they know they would. They know they'll steal their ass off, be bankrupt in 2 years because they're doing it now. Been doing it all along. Just changed the name of some shit. So they wanted somebody that wouldn't put their own hand into the public treasury, but would look the other way if a friend was so engaged to do something. Oh, we want someone that's a subservient, a slave, that ain't gonna steal, slave-minded, that fucked up mindset, that ain't gonna steal, but if I put my hand in there, you'll turn the head and look the other way. They needed a man who would stand between them and the indignant taxpayer. A fair promiser, but a poor performer. A fair promiser, but a poor performer. Personally honest, prosperity. Personally honest, maybe, but so weak, so feeble, and so easily influenced that the conspirators were able to dictate his policies and, in the shadow of his stupidity, loot the municipality. So they need to put somebody in office that they can run over. They can run over and do what the fuck they want to do. And he gonna turn his head and look the other way And then they can pass laws and stuff through him. You know, they can make sure what they desired and what they wanted, his ass was making sure it happened. Then when somebody got to take the fall, hell, his ass gonna do that too. Because in the stupidity, in the shadow of his stupidity, they finna loot the whole minute. They finna steal every dime and dollar. This was not the result of corruption in only one political party. It was brought about by a combination between the leaders of the worst elements in both of the parties. They pooled issues in the city election and declared regular dividends on their investment at the expense of honest people. In the history of corrupt politics in this country, there never has been a more shameless debauchery of the electorate, nor a more vicious alliance between the agencies and beneficiaries of crime than for years existed in East St. Louis. They were some motherfucking ravages, roguish, just roguish ornery. It wasn't no way they could sleep at night. Ain't nobody been sleeping at night with this. Vampires don't even sleep. They don't sleep. Ain't no way somebody can at least can sleep. Ain't no way. There is no way a human being can do all of this stuff. A flock, throngs of human beings. So what they tell you, Black America? What do they tell us, Black America? And we ain't even got far. We ain't even made it. Let's read. It is a disgraceful chapter. It puts an ineffaceable. 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 Ain't that something? I've never seen that word before. It puts an ineffaceable brand on every man engaged in the conspiracy. I guess that means it look just like this. They all look like this. They all look alike. What they is. It's contamination, spreading from a reservoir of corruption in the city hall, filtered through carefully laid conduits into every street and alley, into the hotels where girls, mere children of 15 years of age, were violated, into the low dance halls where schoolgirls listened to lewd songs and engaged in lascivious, LASCIVIOUS, lascivious dances. They must have been grinding and stuff. And in the interval retired to assignation rooms with the drunken brutes who frequented these resorts. Oh, and in the interval retired to assignation rooms with the drunken brutes who frequented these resorts. So, in between, I guess in between dances and stuff, they would go to the assigned room with the drunken brutes. Into the gambling houses were poorly paid workmen who were robbed of their daily earnings. Into the 350 saloons, which was kept open on Sunday, many of them running without license. Into the barrel houses where the vilest of whiskey was sold in bottles. The resort of vagrants and drunkards, residences of criminals and schools of crime. Just madness. This corruption palsied the hands of prominent officials whose duty it was to enforce the law. Lawyers became protectors of criminals. The courts were shields for the highwayman, the prostitute, the gambler, the sneak thief, and the murderer. The higher courts were not free from this baneful influence. which invaded all ranks and brought them to its low level. Local judges were found who would take straw bonds that the worst criminals might get away. They might escape. Exacting only costs 2/3 going into the pockets of the judge and 1/3 going into the waiting palm of the chief of police. Everybody got their hand out. And everybody got paid because they was able to be bought off. A police force is never better than the police commissioners. And the police commissioners in turn reflected the character and the wishes of the mayor. If a city has a mayor of courage and ability, who is not the weak and willing prey of political crooks and grafters, he is certain to appoint a board of police commissioners who will name policemen intelligent enough to know the law and brave and honest enough to enforce it. East St. Louis was doubly unfortunate. In the person of Mayor Marlin, it had an executive who obeyed orders from a gang of conscienceless politicians of both of the political parties. Both of them was telling his ass what to do. Weak ass. Who were exploiting the city for their own aggrandizement. Careless alike of its good name, its security, or its property, or its prosperity. So they didn't care about nothing. The good name of East St. Louis, the security of East St. Louis, or the prosperity of East St. Louis. All they cared about was being aggravating, their aggrandizement. So yeah, they were just running all over his ass. He just wasn't no good. They should have been got him out of there. There were harpies, Harpies. Never saw that word before either. There were harpies who closed their eyes to the corruption that saturated every department of the public service and fattened on its festering carcass. Honey, they closed their eyes to it and were eating good. They closed their eyes to all the corruption and was eating good. Nobody missed a meal. How? All of these, the whole, it don't make no sense to me. Without conscience and without shame, they led the mayor into devious paths. Yeah, they got him in all kind of shit. They tempted him with assurances of political support for his future ambitions, packed the police force with men whose incompetency was only surpassed by their venality, and so circumscribed him with flattery and encouraged his cupidity that they were able to take the reins of the government from his feeble hands and guide it to suit their own foul and selfish purposes. Ain't that messed up? It's like taking candy from a baby. It said it right here. They took the reins of the government from his little feeble hands. Just give it here. Real careful. You know how you take something from an old person, an elderly person. You have been taking care of your elderly great-great-grandmama or somebody, or, and they may have, they drinking some tea or eating or something like that. And you could tell they getting sleepy because the cup doing like this. And so you go and let me take that cup of tea from now. And you get the cup of tea from it, and she just easily let it go, in that elderly age and stuff, they know they being taken care of. Well, that's how they was able to get the government from his ass. That's how they was able to get the government from his feeble ass and do whatever they wanted to do with. That's what it said. And suit their own foul and selfish purposes. Let's read. The great majority of the police force appointed by Mayor Moldman's Board of Police Commissioners has served an apprenticeship as connivers at corrupt elections. As protectors of lawless saloons and hotels run openly as assignation houses. Oh, so they set it up. as protectors of lawless saloons and hotels, but they ran it as hoe houses. They turned criminals loose at the dictation of politicians and divided with graft and justices of the peace the fines that should have gone into the treasury. So as they set the criminals free, all the murderers, they let them go free. Just pay us and you can go. Instead of putting the money in the treasury, they all divided the money up. Yeah, everybody divided the money up. This was the general character of the police force of the city of East St. Louis on July the 1st, 1917, when the spirit of lawlessness, long smoldering, burst into flames. It had long been smoking for a long time. And everybody, unknowingly or not, just fanning it, throw a little piece of paper on it here, a little piece of paper on it there, everything just fanning it. And then one day it just flamed up. Can't say you didn't see it smoking. Everybody seen it smoking. Everybody was contributing to the smoke. And poor black people. Let's read. When acts of violence were frequent on the night of May the 28th, after a largely attended public meeting in the city hall, at which Attorney Alexander Flanagan, by unmistakable implication, suggested mob violence, the police department failed to cope with the incipient mob. When they suggested mob violence, the police department failed to even do anything, say anything. They probably were thinking about how they gonna get off early and make it. How they gonna get off early and make it? Where's my suit at? Where's my Klan suit? Did Martha pack it? Did Martha sew that hole up in my Klan suit? Just ain't never been no protection for us. For Black America, we ain't never got nothing. Not then and not now. Let's read. When the lawlessness began to assume serious proportions on July the 2nd, the police instantly could have quelled and dispersed the crowds, then made up of small groups, but they didn't. They either fled into the safety of the cowardly seclusion or listlessly watched the depredations of the mob, passively, in many instances, actively sharing in its work. So the groups were small at first. So the police could have broke them up, but they didn't. The police either fled into the safety of the cowardly seclusion, the safety of a cowardly seclusion. They run and hide. Or they just sat by and watched and sometimes shared in it. They helped them. That's what it said right here. I'm adding, if I am adding words, it's little bitty words like the black people, a black man. It ain't nothing that's gonna hardly change the context of what we talking about. Cause this evil, this deviousness right here, is still devious. The testimony of every witness who was free to tell the truth agreed in condemnation of the police for failure to even halfway do their duty. They fled the scene where murder and arson was held. They fled the scene where murder and arson held full sway. They deserted the station house and could not be found when calls for help came from every corner of the city. Everybody was calling for help. Everybody needed help. Everybody needed them. They wasn't able to protect themselves from this. Hell, the police was out there with them. That's why they wasn't helping, because they were worried, oh, can I make it home and get my suit? I need Martha to meet me at the riot. The organization broke down completely. And so great was the indifference of the few policemen who remained on duty that the conclusion is inevitable that they shared the lust of the mob for Negro blood and encouraged the rioters by their conduct, which was sympathetic when it was not cowardly. Yeah. So just like I was saying, they shared the lust for Negro blood. They wanted to revel in the blood and guts of black men, black women, black children. They didn't care. Old people, little bitty people, middle-aged people, kind people, tiny, feeble, weak people, long as they were black. They didn't care long as they were black. I mean, let's read. Some specific instances will be given in proof of the above conclusions. After a number of rioters had been taken to the jail by the soldiers under Colonel Clayton, the police deliberately turned hundreds of them loose without bond. Just let them go. Failing to secure their names or to make any effort to identify them. Just let them go. In one instance, the mob jammed policemen against a building and held them there while the other members of the gang were assaulting unoffending Negroes. In one instance, the mob jammed policemen against a building and held them there while other members of the gang were assaulting unoffending Negroes. The police made no effort to free themselves and seemed to regard the performance as highly humorous. Them motherfuckers was laughing. They thought it was funny. It was entertainment to them. That's what they do. It was like a carnival. The police shot into a crowd of Negroes who were huddled together, making no resistance. It was a particularly cowardly exhibition of savagery. When the newspaper reporters were taking pictures of the mob, policemen charged them with their billies, broke their machines, destroyed the negatives, and threatened them with arrest if any further attempt was made to photograph the rioters who were making the streets run red with innocent blood, black blood, applying the torch to reach their victims who were cowering into the wretched homes. So they were running around with their torches too. Running around with their torches and just touch it to something and then it just bloom up in fire. That's my first time picturing the torches. But yeah, I think I remember Klansmen on horses, and they had the stick with the cloth wrapped around it, and it was on fire. See, we forget because we're so distracted and we're thinking about so many other things. And this is not our daily life. We don't keep this in our daily life. We don't like to talk about it. We don't like to remember it. We don't like to study it. We don't like to learn it. So it's easy for Black America to be lulled to sleep. That's what it is. Anything, anybody that takes our attention away from this, our ancestors and these motherfucking savages, anything that takes our attention away from this is putting us to sleep. Whatever that may be, it is anti-you. It is anti-them. Anybody that deter you from learning about your greatness, your ancestors, what they survived, they ancestors, that person, those people that practice that program, whatever it is, it's against your ancestors. And going back to our question to this whole thing, whose side are you on? Anybody against your ancestors is against you. Let's read. A Negro was brutally clubbed by a policeman who found him guilty of the heinous offense of hiding in an ice box to save his life. A Negro was brutally clubbed by a policeman who found him guilty of the heinous crime, the heinous offense of hiding in an ice box to save his life. Like black men and black women were supposed to stand there. You stand there. See, turning the other cheek is deeper than that. You stand there while they bash you across the head. You see, you stand there while they whip you and lash you. That's why when they were whipping slaves, they had to tie them to the pole. They had to tie them and strip them to trees. Because see, when you lash somebody and you beating them down on their back, especially with a whip that's actually cutting, slicing through the skin, they can't even stand up. So see, that's why they had to strap the slaves to trees, so they can whip them, because there's no way to physically stand up on your legs when you're being assaulted like that. In my opinion, it's not. But like I said earlier, I really haven't had to think like this. My brain ain't had to process a lot of this ravageness, if you will. Let's read. 2 policemen and 3 soldiers were involved in the shooting of Mineola McGee under circumstances of extreme brutality. This occurred not at the scene of the riots, but as she was going from an outhouse to the kitchen of the residence where she was employed. When the police and the soldiers who accompanied them, they fired at her deliberately, without even the slightest provocation, and shot off her arm near the shoulder. Mineola McGee is a Negro girl about 20 years old. She was induced to leave one of the southern states and go to East St. Louis by the many enticing but misleading advertisements scattered along southern Negroes. When they were telling Negroes, come to East St. Louis, we'll pay you more. You got better work. It is apparent that even before her injury, she was a frail and rather delicate girl. When she appeared before your committee with one arm off just below the shoulder, she was a physical wreck. She had no education whatsoever. It is not possible for her to earn a living in any other way than by manual labor. Now, as the result of a fiendish, a piece of work as was never perpetrated, she must, well, at least to some extent, be an object of charity. Oh, yeah, people got to donate to her, help her. It wasn't no job she could do with one arm. Now, as a result of as fiendish a piece of work as were ever perpetrated, she must, at least to some extent, become an object of charity. Unless she married and her husband, she was a homemaker. And then she wouldn't need help from other people to take care of herself. and stuff. Because of her youth, this sort of a life is before her. She was interrogated by your committee to ascertain whether it was possible for her to have been shot by accident. Her simple story removed all doubt upon that score, as she satisfied everyone who heard her that she was purposely and deliberately shot. In answer to questions put to her by your committee, this is what she said. I was in an outhouse in the garden. I heard the shooting and started for the house. When I got pretty nigh the house, a soldier hissed his gun and pointed it right at me and shot off my arm. There wasn't nobody twixt me and the soldier for him to be shooting at. And there wasn't nobody under the side of me for him to be shooting at. He just hissed his gun and pointed it at me and shot my arm off when I hadn't done nothing. When he shot me, I fell to the ground and didn't know nothing. Her pitiful recital of this piece of brutality toward her had the effect of stirring the indignation of everybody in the room where the hearing was being conducted, and at the same time to arouse the utmost sympathy for her. The offenses committed against law, order, and decency in East St. Louis and St. Clair County include every known act in the catalog of crime. We have selected some of the highlights that luridly illumine the landscape of crime. 1/3 of all the stealing from freight cars engaged in interstate commerce, as reported from 27 states, was done in East St. Louis and St. Clair County. It was not only a fertile field for the cart thief, but he found a ready sale for his plunder through agencies that was protected by the police and the other officials, because they were crooks. The politicians and the police force of East St. Louis and St. Clair County divided among themselves at least $60,000 a year in graft, which they exacted from the gamblers and the prostitutes and, the criminals that they were buying off. Will pay us and we'll let you go. So all this money, they just divided it amongst themselves. A bunch of damn crooks, constables, and deputy sheriffs picked up some easy money in the vile dance halls that was open on Sunday in the various saloons in St. Clair County. They were each paid $5 a day by the proprietors of these places under the pretense of maintaining order, but under their oaths. They should have been arrested and prosecuted, the keepers and all those present, for violating the law. All of their asses should have been arrested. Records show that more than 300 girls between the ages of 13 and 16 visited the dance halls run in connection with saloons and so-called hotels, which were in reality assignation houses where, the drunk brutes would go. In between the songs and stuff, the women would go to the assignation room with the drunk brutes and they get down and stuff. Well, that's what they was doing here. Same thing. These children, their hair hanging down their backs and in short dresses, publicly engaged in lascivious, lascivious, lascivious dances with a motley crew of drunken toughs, drunken white men. The police took no notice of these offenses, nor did the mayor make any effort to close these joints notoriously violating the law. They were some damn pedophiles. Their asses was up in there sleeping with kids. Hell, that's why they didn't do nothing. Many other cases of police complicity in the riots could be cited. Instead of being guardians of the peace, they became a part of the mob by countenancing the assaulting and shooting down the defenseless Negroes and adding to the terrifying scenes of raping and slaughter. Instead of being the guardians of the peace, the guardians of the peace, they became part of the mob, y'all. Shooting down defenseless Negroes. Prosperity. Slaughtering people, raping people. They jumped in and got their little stuff on too. Then they go on to the next. They raping somebody. Let me get in and rape them too. Let me get in and club somebody too. Let's read. Their disgraceful conduct was the logical fruit of the notorious allegiance between City Hall and criminal elements, aided by saloons, gambling houses, and houses of prostitution. The city administration owed its election to their support and rewarded them for their fealty by permitting them to debauch the innocent, rob drunken victims, make assignation houses of the hotels, protect the gambler and the thief, and commit any act by which they might profit. If it'll make you $1, do it. That's what the city commission was on. That's what they was allowing. Mayor Malman appointed the police commissioners. He was responsible for their failure to divorce the police from its partnership with crooked lawyers, corrupt judges of the peace, and notorious criminals. He knew full well that the conditions in the police department, he knew full well what the conditions in the police department were. Prominent citizens had already warned him repeatedly and had supplied him convincing proof of their charges against the department. They showed him what was going on, but he was doing it too. He paid no attention to their warnings and their appeals. By his failure to remove the police commissioners, he acquiesced in their malfeasance and is equally responsible for them for the heartless crimes committed by an unrestrained mob and for the lawlessness that was encouraged and fostered by his failure to enforce the law and to hold his subordinates responsible for the proper conduct of the police department. A total fucking failure. Between the 1st of September 1916 and July the 2nd, 1917, the day of the riot, there were 800 crimes of various characters, ranging from larceny to rape and murder committed in East St. Louis. In hundreds of these cases, straw bonds was taken. And when the criminals failed to answer, a small fine was entered, of which the justice of the peace received 2/3 and the chief of police received 1/3. It was a profitable business for the justices, one of whom, now dead, is said to have made $25,000 a year. Man. Women of the street in kimonos with flowery heads and painted faces took parts in the riots, and they were, if possible, more brutal than the men. Hold on. Women of the street in kimonos with frowsy heads and painted faces took part in the riots and were, if possible, more brutal than the men. They attacked Negro women and children and beat them unmercifully. White women beat them unmercifully. beat the babies till they arm literally, it was just hanging, dangling, because they beat it so much it came apart. And the baby could actually do that because the baby bones is so weak. Little bitty kids, the way they beating children. To beat that baby unmercifully. Negro women, children that ain't even got no weapons on them. I bet you 10 times out of 10, these black people didn't even have no weapons on, not even a knife. Nothing. One of the unique features of official life in East St. Louis was that permitting constables to summon juries from the barrel houses and saloons. One of the unique features of official life in East St. Louis was that permitting constables to summon juries from the barrel houses and saloons. So that was one thing that they was able to do. His ass would go get the drunks. His ass would go get the drunks and the bombs. They were known as irrigation juries. Shit juries. That's all that was, shit juries. He would go to the liquor store, to the saloons, and the prostitute houses, and get their ass and bring them to sit on the jury. These jurors always returned a verdict in favor of the clients of Alexander Flanagan, a friend of the court, or of any other lawyer or gang leader with pull. And it was the invariable custom for the court to impose a sufficient additional fine to pay for a treat all around for the jurymen and the officers. These lawyers with a pull proudly took them to a nearby saloon on which was the large sign, Court Bar, where they were irrigated. Yeah, so they were known as the irrigation juries. I guess they meant that to be the drunk juries. That was shit juries. That's what they were. So they had this, so in between all of their ravageness, they would go to the bar and sit at the court bar where they would be irrigated. They would be just shitting. During the riot, a Negro was arrested and taken to jail that the mob might not get him. He had not committed any offense and presumably was in the safe custody of the jailer. One of the police officers, learning that he had some money in his pocket, constituted himself judge, jury, and witness, and fined him $11.50, and also made him contribute $5 additional to raise the assessment of one of his fellow prisoners to the proper amount. This petty crook, and learning afterward that the Negro had some change left, no doubt was surprised at his own moderation. Dumb ass, just dumb. The looting of the city and county treasury had grown into a habit in St. Louis. They were used to stealing. I don't care if it was a dime, a nickel, 2 pennies. They were stealing from each other, stealing from themselves. They was literally stealing from themselves. Steal from there, put it up, and then everybody like, oh, yeah, we got that in the treasury. Sneak back in there and steal it. Just thieves. Nothing but thieves, savages, Black America. Just ravaging this through and through. I don't care what it looked like today. Anybody can fake the funk. Everybody been fooling us since the beginning. Everybody been fooling Black America since Black America was been physically free. So what make Black America think everybody, that these people right here is not putting on a front? Because see, I know a lot of us, we not saying what black media is showing us because we're not watching black media. So I know a lot of y'all are thinking that this has changed. They are not this. You're probably doubting if this even happened. See, and we reading the book. You reading it too here because you hearing it. You picturing it. Some of you might be feeling it. It's real. It happened. Let's read. The looting of the city and county treasury had grown into a habit of East St. Louis. More than $250,000 has been stolen by various defaulting officials in the last 5 years. Everybody was taken. Everybody was taken, stealing, borrowing, loaning. And that's just in 5 years. And that's then. Not now, then. Now this will probably be like $1,500,000 today's. Some fucking crooks. In one instance, the school fund was robbed of $45,000. But the prosecution of the thief has gone on listlessly for several years without any real effort to convict him. He probably still working at school. He was not arraigned for trial until after your committee had left East St. Louis. He then pleaded guilty. Everybody knows who was protecting him, but so many similar thefts have been overlooked that there is but little public sentiment against him because everybody been doing it. So, it's like, no, don't bring the hardest consequence punishment down on him. We sympathetic to him. He helped us. He was robbing y'all to, how to say, rob Paul and pay Peter. Robin Hood was robbing rich folks to help black folks, something like that. He was just robbing y'all to come and help us. But then if it was a black man and stuff, your ass would be gone. Your ass would be shipped up shit creek. Because two wrongs don't make a right. Ain't that what they tell black America? After one of the defalcation, DEFALCATIONE, after one of the defalcations, I never heard that word either, the thieves took everything in the vault but the metal hinges of a loose leaf ledger, and the fire they started to destroy the evidence of their guilt left that as the only souvenir for the taxpayers. Them motherfuckers took everything but the metal hinges of a loose leaf ledger. And the fire they started to destroy the evidence of their guilt, that's what left the metal rings. Because, fire burned everything but metal. The fire burned everything but the metal rings. Yeah. So is it any surprise when the riots went up, like with George Floyd, and the riots went up, and there were all black people burning down their own communities? I never seen such a thing. The riots. This was the beginning right here. This was the very beginning. Now, we all know black people were, too timid to go burn down white folks' community because the man that killed George, that killed him was white. What was that man name that killed George Floyd? What was his name? He in prison now. But he was a white man and stuff. But black folks is too timid and fearful to go over there and kill his damn ass, drag him out of his house and burn their communities. But this right here is where all that rioting started at. Right here, white folks. They started it, but then they act like They the only ones can do it. We started it, we do it, but when we say it's over, it's done with, we ain't doing it no more. Then it won't be done no more. But see, it don't work like that. See, white America taught everybody their mindset. And now for white America to say, oh, we're so clean and plush and we ain't been evil since Adam and Eve. And can't nobody pin nothing on them. Can't nobody critique them. Call up their past. Because it's all in books. Nobody knows. Those who do know are afraid, are bought off, sellouts. Damn this thing, ain't it? Yeah, I know y'all probably don't. I still don't believe it. That still ain't Miss Jenkins. Still, I don't care what the books say. That is not Miss Jenkins, not Miss Barbara. It's not Miss Barbara. And then there's somebody out there with Miss Lucille told me. She told me about everything. I bet she told your ass don't go tell the rest of them. I know she did. Because I know the first thing you said was, oh, wait, y'all did some crazy shit to us. And she was like, well, now, settle down. Don't go telling the others because it's all water under the bridge and it's just going to open old wounds. And I think we've made progress. Bunch of lies, Black America. Let's read. On the night of July the 1st, Mayor Moldman telephoned the acting adjutant, A-D-J-U-T-A-N-T, telephoned the acting adjutant general of Illinois that the mob spirit was rampant, that the police were unable to cope with the situation, and that it would take the strong hand of the militia to preserve order. The conduct of the soldiers who were sent to East St. Louis to protect life and property puts a blot on that part of the Illinois militia that served under Colonel Tripp. They were scattered over the city, many of them being without officers to direct or control them. In only a few cases did they do their duty. They seemed moved by the same spirit of indifference or cowardice that marked the conduct of the police force. Now they asses is feeling like, ooh, we fainting too. Now they ass feeling like they want to revel in the blood and gore. They want to help. They want to get in on the riding. And they there to protect. We ain't got no friends. See? It's always been this way. We've always been misled, lied to, manipulated, insulted. As a rule, they fraternized with the mob. They joked with the mob and made no serious effort to restrain them. Oh no, just let you be. Special commendation is due Attorney General Brundage and Assistant Attorney General Middlecoff. The Attorney General answered every appeal made to him by the good people of East St. Louis and St. Clair County, and virtually without assistance from the local authorities, remedied many evils. It was due entirely to his efforts that lawless resorts were closed. And wherever there had been a violation of the state law, he was quick to order the arrest and the prosecution of the offender. Assistant Attorney General Middlecoff had active charge of the prosecutions growing out of the riot, and he showed neither fear nor favor. So he had active charge of the prosecutions from the riot when they were prosecuting their asses and everybody else was just letting them go. He wasn't scared and he didn't give favor to none of them. Capable, determined, and courageous, he allowed neither political influence nor personal appeals to swerve him from the strict line of duty. Your ass is guilty. You are guilty. As a result of these prosecutions by the Attorney General's office, 11 Negroes and 8 white men are in the state penitentiary. 2 additional white men have been sentenced to prison terms. 14 white men have been given jail sentences. 27 white men, including the former night chief of police and 3 policemen, have pleaded guilty to rioting and have been punished. These convictions were obtained in the face of organized, determined effort, backed with abundant funds to head off the prosecutions and convictions. In the case of Mayor Mollman, there seems to have been an open, paid advertising campaign to slander and intimidate the Attorney General. Chapter 5. I know that was deep, but we learned quite a few things tonight. And if nothing else, we learned that, honey, we better keep our eyes on the prize because everybody else is. Because Black America, as sure as you close your eyes and turn your back, white rage is finna be on your ass if Black self-hate don't get you first. That's why right here at Bolden Unchained, we get into the roots of our self-hate because we need the protection of each other, Black America. We need the protection of each other. I know you got your friends, you got your families, you got your buddies, your boys, your girls, you got your soul tribes, you got your peoples. Keep them. Keep them. Ain't nobody saying you got to get rid of them if you don't want to. All of us don't want to leave white people alone. Some of us want to be around white people the rest of our life. And do it if you want to. But hell shit, you better use some discernment so your ass at least end up with Sabrina and not Karen. Black America. I mean, we all got a decision to make here. And I know we all wanna come out of this. I know we want to come out of this healthy. We want to come out of this healed. You know, we don't want to come out of this bitter and, you know, and angry. Because our ancestors, they didn't come out of this bitter and angry. They didn't come out of this bitter and angry. I'm not bitter and angry. I know what the fuck I'm going to do. I know who the fuck I'm going to be with. I know who I trust, whose side I'm on. And it ain't this. And as long as I know, I ain't giving nothing. As long as I know, face ain't giving no quarter or dime to they motherfucking asses. I ain't sparing no mercy, no benefit of the doubt. I know whose side I'm on. As long as you know whose side you're on, you can be happy. Ain't nothing saying in concrete, I got to forgive them. Oh, you got to give for you. I ain't got to forgive them for me. I forgive my ancestors for trusting in their asses, for letting us think that, oh, they'll change. Things are better now. We're making progress. I forgive my ancestors for that because they was indoctrinated too. They were misled too. See, we all been fed this bullshit. Everybody know it. Everybody know it. That's why they so close up on us. Everybody and they mama making sure if Black America do anything out of the ordinary, because they know everything about us now. They know our routine, what we like. They know what we thinking sometimes when we ain't even talking. Because we done just let white America just let them right on in. Might as well just give them a key. Give them a key to your life. Give them a key to your life. Might as well go on and let them know. Hey, just clone me. For all the indoctrination that's been done to Black America. But your friends, your brethren, not one time have anybody in white America, and if it have been one time, somebody need to find it and share it. And all of the indoctrination and all of our traumatizing, for all the love Sabrina feel, for all the love Sabrina feel, for all the love Steve feel, because we know Karen and Kia don't give a damn. Why the hell they ain't told us? Sabrina ain't said shit. Steve ain't said a motherfucking thing. Look at here, I love y'all. I love you, but Prosperity, y'all need to get away from white folks. Get away from us. Sincerity. Where's the sincerity for us? Who feels some sincerity for Black people? Black Americans. Every day and every night. I know everybody ain't sleeping peacefully at night. I know everybody's not sleeping peacefully at night. Everybody got sleep deprivation. If they want us to think, to believe that they really sleeping at night, is everybody fucking vampires? Is everybody unhuman to be walking around? And they the most happy, most peaceful people you wouldn't even know or think that they walking around with this type of secret of what they've done. Oh, my ancestors. It's going to take some time. This is going to take some time, Black America, okay? But we're going to get through it. And we're not going to come out of this bitter, angry, vengeful. We're going to come out of this with clarity. We're going to be focused. We're going to have a plan. We're going to stick to it. When we come out of this right here, we're going to be able to heal the self-hate so we can get the hell away from white America. That's it and that's all. Peace and power to the people. Now, I know, yeah, it's been a long one, ain't it? But it's been good. We've learned a lot. We learned something about ourselves. Most importantly, we learned something about their ass. See, that's all we finna do. We finna learn. Learn. But remember one thing. Keep a song in your heart. Keep your ancestors in your eyes. Remember. Don't ever forget your ancestors. Remember them 3 songs, them 3 words. Just start saying them. Thank you, ancestors. Thank you, ancestors. You ain't got to call nobody's name specifically if you don't know them. Because when you say ancestors, thank you, ancestors, all of them going to turn their head. And just tell them what you want. Tell them what you need. Same way you do with God. It's just this time we redirecting the energy. We putting that energy, all of that love, that intention, those aspirations and goals, our desires, our wishes. When we give it to the ancestors and take it to them, it's just added assurance. I mean, for y'all, look at it like that. You know, God gonna answer your prayers and the ancestors gonna answer your prayers. However, like myself, my ancestors answer my meditations. Cosmic energy answers my meditations. But still, we add the ancestors in there. You still got to add your ancestors in there, Black America. That's why we ain't came out of this. And everybody talking about, oh, it's a curse. It's been a curse put on us. Ain't no damn thing been put on us. White America. White America is the curse. Somebody should have told us. They didn't have to act like hell. We didn't need to know. But look at y'all. Y'all still up. I love y'all, family. And we're going to get together tomorrow. I might try to rest my voice, but I might not. Hell, I'm already late. We already got work to do. Shit, hell, we learning ourselves. And then we got to teach the babies. We got to get out and teach each other. But when y'all do get started, be sure and let me know so I can get in with you, okay? Because I'll come to your channel and I'll read. Now, you know I'll read now, but yeah, you know, peace and power to the people, and I'll see you, my family, tomorrow.